bring him back?
I'm speaking to those guys tomorrow.
Okay.
So, yes, there are guys. It's a good coaching, really good coaching.
We love Brasillo.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll mention that to him. Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's not the first recommendation I've gotten either. It's a lot of good recommendations on a lot of guys. So I'm excited about those guys.
Would you go back, like a couple of the names that jump out at me, because you're defensive coordinators. You've employed some good ones over the years. Rex Ryan, even though it was brief. Would you bring him back? Wink Martindale, guys like that?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. Hey, why not? I mean, can you imagine Rex coming back in here? Would that be
nuts?
I mean, how much fun would you guys have?
I mean, Pat Hanlon would have a heart attack.
Yeah. I tell you, I mean, but listen, I'm not ruling anything out. I mean, a guy like Rex, he's around the game. He knows the game. He's going to you have to get updated a little bit with some of the scheme stuff. But I'll tell you what, nobody calls a better game than Rex Ryan. Mm-hmm. Rex Ryan, he built great defenses, but he called a great game, and there's a lot to be said.
You think he wants to do it again? Be a DC again?
I don't know. We'll have to give him a call.
You're going to call him?
Yeah.
Is that the plan?
Why not? I talk to Rex a lot.
We're talking to John Harbaugh, head coach of the New York Giants. What were the conversations like with Jackson Dart? Because we've heard so much that you guys talked a lot during this process. Did you talk ball? Did you talk life? Was he interviewing you or you interviewing him?
I did feel like I was getting interviewed. I feel like I was getting grilled just a little bit. No, it was football, and it was life, and it was football. Then it was football again, then a little life, and then back to football.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of football, and I was fired up, man. He got me fired up. The guy he eats it, breathes it, talks it, wants to be around football all the time. You love that.
Yeah. So you said this kind of in your presser, talking about wanting to win a Super Bowl, but the Giant fan has been beat down over the last decade plus. What would be your message to the Giant fan? I mean, we all know your success. Yeah. We know what you bring, but it's here, and we're excited for this.
It's great. It's funny. Like, that's a question I get. I've been asked a lot today. By every media thing,
yeah.
and I really probably given terrible answers because I never even thought about that. Like, what's my message to the fans? It's like, well, I don't know. I'm just like, what do you say? You say, you know what? I want you to be proud. I want you to be proud of what you see. I want you to watch a football team out there that you can brag about. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, this is my team. This is the way they play, and I can relate to these guys and how they play. That's what I want. I want them to be happy. I want them to be fired up about their team.
Yeah.
I want them to look at a team and say, man, these guys are what I'm about. That would be my message to them.
Yeah.
We got to get there. We got to earn that.
Yeah.
That's what we got to work for.
So what's the message to the team? What would be your first
message? The
message
to the team is exactly the same. It's the same exact message that we got to build, and you got to earn that, right, man?
Right.
I mean, you want to go out there and you got to win in the margins, right? We understand what that means. You know how tight it is in this league. No team is as good as they say they are, and no team is as bad as they say they are. It's all way exaggerated. Every team is right there. Just watch our season in Baltimore last year. Watch my new team season last year in New York. Watch every single team in the league. Look at the playoff games, right?
Yeah.
Comes right down to the margins. You win or lose. But you got to earn the right to be in the margin,
right.
Fighting in the margin. And then what are you doing every single day to be good enough to find a way to make a play when it counts the most? How do we get a stop? How do you get off the field? You got to get a sack. You got to bat a ball. You got to tip a ball. You got to get an interception to get off the field. Somebody's got to make that play. Okay, it's everything that you do before that gets you to that place where when it happens, you're like, it happened. And you don't know why it happened.
Yeah.
It just happened because of all those things you did along the way.
Yeah, but I also know this, Coach. If it starts happening over and over and over and over again, you start expecting it to happen.
You're darn right.
Yep.
And that's how you turn great.
That's exactly right.
Coach, there's this magic.
I'm gonna make that part of the message too.
Yeah, that's right.
There's this
I can't strap them on anymore.
magic word in sports radio that drives some people nuts and some people love it. Analytics. A lot has been discussed about your love with analytics. What do you bring to the table analytically, or what you're looking for compared to where the Giants were previous that could get reshaped here?
Yeah, I'm not sure where it's at, but to me, analytics is kind of an interesting term because to me, it's just breaking down film. That's what it really is. I mean, it's football. My dad was doing it in 1973 in our basement with a 16-millimeter projector. And we were right there with him, helping him do it. So
amazing.
It's really not. It's the same thing. But it's way more computerish now, and they got way more information. So really, what it is now, it's like taking all that information because you got reams and reams of it, and making sense of it. All right, and then defining it in football terms. Like, what does this mean? What can I learn from this? Apply it to the game plan, or what can the players take from it that they can actually take onto the field and help them play better? That's really that's what it's all about. It's deciphering all of the information. Maybe that's what analytics means.
What was? I'm sure you're worried about the Giants and what job you were going to take next. But what was your reaction to Mike Tomlin? You guys have been linked together, rivals in the same division. Your reaction to Tomlin moving on from the Steelers?
Yeah, that's kind of nostalgic. We had a nice conversation before the game, and it's crazy. I mean, it's just, to me, it goes back to it's kind of the way God works. I mean, how about that? The same year. Yeah. He started 1 year before me, but the same year after all those games and all those battles, and he said to me one time, he said, we will be linked forever.
It's true.
And it's like, it is true. It's true. And next time I see him, maybe we'll have a beer or something and talk about it, because we've never really talked about it beyond that, but it's pretty cool.
You think he'll coach again? You get the impression?
Yeah, I do think he'll coach again. I do.
See, I don't. I think he might be done.
Yeah, maybe so. He'll be great on TV.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I mean, he'll be amazing.
No, he definitely will.
He's just a smart, articulate guy.
Playoffs in the first year, Coach?
Listen, we're going to try to win every game. We expect to win every single game. We're going to let the chips fly. You guys want me to make predictions?
No, I don't want you
Coach,
to.
I'll sign for the In the Hunt graphic in December. In
the Hunt graphic.
That's all I'm asking for.
I put on a helmet and a jock strap. These guys didn't, so I know you can't make predictions. But I do want to know, you work out at what time in the morning?
5:30.
5:30? Over here in the gym?
Yeah.
I might meet you one day.
Oh boy.
There we go.
He's going to take me. You're going to take me down.
Yes, Coach, congratulations.
I have a certain pace. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
See if you can keep up.
I'm also 50, dude. It's not like I'm 40.
Great seeing you.
Likewise.
Coach.
Yeah.
I don't know how, as a Giant fan, you can't be pumped up hearing your new head coach, John Harbaugh. Thank you very much for listening to a very special Sunday morning edition of Evan and Tiki. Coming up next, You Better You Bet with Nick Kostos.
Get the latest on the Giants and Jets on WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York, and Odyssey Sports Station. It's Sunday morning. Time to plug into everything NFL. Time for your best bets and fantasy fix. It's time for You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM. Here's your host, Nick Kostos.
What's up, everybody? Happy and merry. Championship Sunday in the NFL playoffs to you and yours. This is You Better You Bet on the Fan. Nick Kostos here with you for the next 60 minutes, talking all things Patriots, Broncos, and Rams, Seahawks. Championship Sunday in the National Football League. You can hit me up on Instagram at the Kostos, TAGKOSTOS, on Twitter there as well. My YouTube page for all things Nick Kostos content, youtube.com/ at the Kostos, TAGKOSTOS. The show on Twitter at You Better You Bet. And the show presented today and always by BetMGM. Make it legendary by downloading the BetMGM app and visiting BetMGM.com. The phone number to chime in today, 888-808-1019, 888-808-1019. All right, you know how we do. Nick Kostos and you, each and every NFL Sunday morning here on The Fan. Side total and props for every game on the board in the fastest show in all of wagertainment. Bring it up, Nico! Yes! I want to know who is ready for football. Football. Championship Sunday. Football. And the show starts right now. And we begin on this snowy championship Sunday. I got to tell you, interesting car ride to the office this morning with all the snow on the ground. Let me tell you, you get one of these big-ass cars, right? You put that son of a bitch in snow mode. You're expecting, no skidding, no slipping, no nothing. And then Mother Nature comes and says, you know what? We're going to make hell out of your plans. Interesting trip to the office this morning to host You Better You Bet on Championship Sunday, but would not have it any other way. Hope everybody is able to stay safe during the snowstorm. Hopefully it's not too bad. Evoking memories of the blizzard of 96 for those of us old enough to remember. Stay safe, stay warm, and let's enjoy some playoff football. And you can tell, today, I am excited. And I hope that you are excited. And I hope that we share a similar feeling on this morning. That feeling, awe. Because we stand together, dear listener and dear viewer. And shout out to those of you watching right now on YouTube, on the WFAN YouTube page. You are the best. Also, if you're listening, I love you as well. We stand together on the precipice. Championship Sunday in the NFL. If you, and I'm guessing that you are, you never want to assume though, but I'm guessing that this is true of you, and it's true of me. If you are a gigantic football fan, a gigantic sports fan, a gigantic football nerd, a gigantic sports nerd, then this day, Championship Sunday, it means something to you. It gets the juices flowing. For those of you who love the history of the National Football League, history will be made today. For those of you who love the lore, the stories of the National Football League, lore and stories will be added and told today. History made. Legacies authored. Championship Sunday in the NFL. This is what it's all about. And to my fellow New York Football Giants fans, and to the Jets fans in the audience as well. And I know that there are, we have people here in New York who root for the Dolphins. Shout out to my buddy John Jastrzemski, Dolphins fans. We've got Raiders fans. I grew up with Cowboys fans. You gotta love the Cowboys and the Bulls fans that we grew up with in the 90s here. You people make me sick. So I know that we've got fans of a lot of different teams here in the New York tri-state area. But this is a Giants town. And this is a Jets town. And we can start by ruminating on and thinking about the history of these two teams, of our favorite teams on Championship Sunday. And I know, Jets fans, that this is not going to be as pleasant an experience for you as it is for me as a fan of the New York Football Giants. But to know history is to know what's coming next and to appreciate what could potentially be coming down the pike for you as a Jets fan, for me as a Giants fan. We can go back to 1982. I wasn't alive yet. I was alive the next year. I was alive in June of 83. And we can go back to the AFC Championship game with the Jets and the Miami Dolphins, where Richard Todd, I know it's a terrible name for Jets fans, 15 of 37, 103 passing yards, 5 interceptions in a 14-0 Jets loss to Miami in that AFC Championship game. We can go to 1998. 10-0 over the Broncos in Denver before Richie Anderson puts the ball on the ground and the Broncos outscore Gang Green 23-0 from there. The excitement that you felt, hell, I felt it as a Giants fan in 2009. Year one, Rex Ryan. Year one, Mark Sanchez. An AFC championship trip to Indianapolis. No shame in losing in that spot to Peyton Manning and the Colts. The one that really sticks in your craw is the year after. In Pittsburgh, 24-19 loss to the Steelers, where I know Jets fans who are still angry at current Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer for the play calling in that game, specifically down by the goal line for the New York Jets. Perhaps the Jets are on their way back to a championship Sunday with the bevy and the bounty of draft picks coming up over the next few years. We'll talk about Aaron Glenn and the Jets a little later in the show. And for my New York Football Giants, our New York Football Giants. Oh, the history a little bit better on Championship Sunday. Oh, we can go back to the 86 season and shutting out Jay Schrader. How about Jay Schrader, by the way? Part of an answer to a fun trivia question. Quarterback to start Championship Sunday in both conferences for the Raiders and then the Washington Redskins, and outscored in those two games 68-3. Not great for Jay Schrader. 86, shut out. The Redskins and Jay Schrader were by Bill Parcells, Lawrence Taylor, Bill Belichick, and the New York Football Giants en route to a Giants Super Bowl championship in Super Bowl 21 in Pasadena over the Denver Broncos. 1990, there will be no three-peat. January 20th, 1991, Matt Barr from 42, sneaking it through the left upright to beat Joe Montana and the 49ers. Roger Craig putting the ball on the ground, LT right into his hands, and the Giants would go on to win that game. Shout out to the great Gary Reasons on the fake punt in that 1990 NFC Championship game. Oh, baby, we can go to 2000 against the Minnesota Vikings where the game is over before it starts. 14-0 before the blink of an eye. 41-0 over Dante Culpepper and Minnesota. Of course, Super Bowl 35 did not go as well as 25 against the Baltimore Ravens. 2007, overtime over the Green Bay Packers. Lawrence Tynes with the game winner. Lawrence Tynes, the greatest kicker in Giants history. And this may sound crazy to my fellow Giants fans, and perhaps you agree with me, maybe you disagree. Super Bowl 42 against the Patriots will probably never be matched. But the ball was in the air from Eli to Plaxico for what felt like an eternity before Plaxico caught that pass to win Super Bowl 42. And we had to survive the Tom Brady, the greatest pass in NFL history that no one talks about. 70 yards on a rope from the right side of the field all the way to the left side into the top corner to Randy Moss, broken up at the last second by Corey Webster. Oh, baby, as the Giants won Super Bowl 42. But for me, perhaps that game, NFC Championship, Lambeau Field, Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers, sub-zero temperatures, Tom Coughlin's frozen face. That game might have been even more enjoyable for me because I felt like that was a game the Giants lose 100 out of 100 times, especially with the kicker faux pas, and then Tynes steps up and changes the course of Giants history and sends the Giants to Super Bowl 42. And 4 years later, with me, Nick Kostos in attendance at the old Candlestick Park, the Giants go into San Francisco, and Eli Manning gets the stuffing beaten out of him all game by Justin Smith and the Niners, took a licking and kept on ticking. And the Giants, another NFC Championship win in overtime, en route to another Super Bowl championship over the New England Patriots. And those are just the local teams here as we stand on the cusp of Super Bowl 60, talking about Championship Sunday in the NFL. How about Championship Sunday through the prism of the four teams playing today? And yes, we will get to the bets, the handicaps, the analysis, the storylines. I've got a lot of them. We will get to them. But first, we honor history. First, we talk about these teams and their Championship Sunday history. And for the New England Patriots, oh, there's a lot of it. And for the younger fans out there in the audience, watching the show on YouTube, listening on WFAN, listening on the award-winning Odyssey app, Nation, and worldwide, perhaps you're only aware of Tom Brady and his history in the AFC Championship game with the Patriots. No. We can go to 1985, where the Chicago Bears would win Super Bowl 20 and go 15-1 and go 18-1 as it turned out. But Chicago had one loss in that regular season, and it's in a famous Monday Night Football game against Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins, where the Dolphins shredded the vaunted 46 defense and shredded Buddy Ryan and shredded Mike Ditka. And we thought we would get Dolphins-Bears Part 2 in Super Bowl 20. And the Patriots had other plans, going into Miami and beating Marino and beating Shula 31-14, robbing us of a potential historic Super Bowl with the Bears and the Miami Dolphins. We can fast forward to 2001, the Patriots on the road in Pittsburgh against Cordell Stewart, Bill Cowher, and the Steelers. And everyone forgets now, but if you're old enough like me, I turn 43 later this year, then you know that Patriots team, and this may sound crazy to Jets fans, but I kind of thought they were likable at that point. The Patriots were a laughingstock of a franchise when I was growing up. And then you had this kid coming out of nowhere in Tom Brady. And as a Giants fan, I love Bill Belichick. The Patriots were like the lovable underdogs in the Tuck Rule game against the Raiders, going into Pittsburgh against the Steelers. And hashtag people forget, Tom Brady had to leave that game with injury, and it was Drew Bledsoe that came off the bench to win that game for the New England Patriots. And I remember in the weeks to come, leading up to that Super Bowl 36 against the then St. Louis Rams, saying to my late father, I think Bill Belichick needs to start Drew Bledsoe in the Super Bowl. The start of a lifetime of bad football predictions from yours truly. The rest was history for Tom Brady and New England. Did they cheat in the game? Maybe. But they did win that Super Bowl. We can go to Deflategate against the Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck, where LeGarrette Blount and company smoke the Indianapolis Colts. Oh, baby. And how about Jacksonville in 2017 with the Patriots comeback over Blake Bortles, Miles Jack, and the Jacksonville Jaguars? That's just New England. What about New England's opponent today? The Denver Broncos. The kings of Championship Sunday as it concerns the National Football League. And we're actually going to start. We don't need to get into 77 because the Broncos got waxed in that Super Bowl by the Dallas Cowboys. No, we will begin in 86 with the drive against the Cleveland Browns, leading up to a Broncos Super Bowl loss to the Giants. But the drive, 98 yards, with the young Mike Shanahan calling the plays for Denver, with Dan Reeves on the sideline. Denver beats the Cleveland Browns for the first of 3 times in the 80s in the AFC Championship game. The next year, at Mile High, we had the drive in 86, and in 87, we had the fumble. Ernest Biner puts it on the turf. Denver would lose 42-10 to the then Redskins in that Super Bowl. 97, the Broncos in 96 are the best team in football and get upset by the Jaguars in the divisional round 30-27, sea of hands, game 2 to Jimmy Smith. Then the Broncos go to Pittsburgh as an underdog and beat the Steelers 24-21 en route to the Broncos' first Super Bowl championship in franchise history. This one's for John. The next year against the Jets, obviously 23-10, and then one of the best conference championship games in modern history. 2015, Broncos-Patriots, with Denver surviving as a 3.5-point home dog, one of the easiest bets you'll ever place. Surviving a late comeback effort from Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, thwarting a late 2-point conversion to advance to Super Bowl 50 with a 20-18 victory. They would go to beat the Panthers in Super Bowl 50. To the NFC, with the Rams, 85, the Rams get destroyed by the Bears in the NFC Championship game. And people forget, the week before, Bears beat the Giants 21-0. But that's a game that maybe you could have seen the Giants potentially winning closer than the final score would indicate if Sean Landeta didn't whiff on a punt and the Bears recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. How about 1999? In a game that history has forgotten, and it shouldn't, for what it led to. One of the great NFC Championship games ever, with Tony Dungy and Sean King and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers up 6-5 on Kurt Warner and the greatest show on turf St. Louis Rams at the end of the game when Warner hits Ricky Prohl for the winning score. The Rams would go on to beat the Titans in Super Bowl 34. We can go to 2018 with Jared Goff at quarterback and the Rams beating New Orleans and Sean Payton on a bogus no call on a pass interference in overtime. And then just a couple of years ago, McVay v. Shanahan, 2 friends for a long time. The 2 greatest offensive innovators this century in the National Football League going head-to-head. And thanks to a Jaquiski Tartt dropped interception, the Rams would advance to the Super Bowl 56 against Joe Burrow and the Bengals and emerge victorious. And the last, the Seattle Seahawks, who once upon a time, for younger fans may not know this, played in the AFC West, losing to the Raiders and Marcus Allen running into the night in the 83 championship game. 05, finally getting to the Super Bowl, slamming the Carolina Panthers. They would lose Super Bowl 40 to the Steelers. And then back-to-back bangers in 13 and 14, Colin Kaepernick and the Niners, Richard Sherman, Michael Crabtree, Aaron Andrews. Seattle would win that Super Bowl over the Denver Broncos. And then the Brandon Bostic game with Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, who we'll get to later in the show. Seattle winning that NFC title game before losing Super Bowl 49 to Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And that now takes us to today. Patriots at the Broncos and the Rams and the Seahawks. Do you love it? Are you ready? We'll start with the first game. And at BetMGM right now, our show sponsor, my sponsor, download the BetMGM app, visit BetMGM.com, make it legendary, and please gamble responsibly. The New England Patriots, year 2 of Drake May, Year one of Mike Vrabel, a road favorite in Denver to go back to the Super Bowl. The Patriots, 3.5-point road favorites at Denver. Total of the game is 43. We are expecting freezing temperatures today. What a shock. Outside in Denver in January. Freezing temperatures and potential snow in the forecast. Hell yeah. Jarrett Stidham starts the AFC Championship game for the Denver Broncos in place of the injured Bo Nix. And I said it last week on these airwaves after the Broncos beat the Buffalo Bills last week in the divisional round on Saturday to kick off an epic divisional round of the playoffs. And everyone is, basking in the glory of that win, and the Broncos are absolutely loving life, going to host Championship Sunday. And here comes to the podium an hour after the game as the Seahawks start to lay it on the Niners in Seattle. Here comes Sean Payton, wearing a pretty spiffy, brown, suede jacket, by the way. Looked good. Strides up to the podium and says, oh, by the way, Bo Nix out for the season. A fractured bone in his right ankle. What? Let me do my best Stone Cold Steve Austin impersonation. What? What? Really? That actually happened? I said it last week. This the equivalent of you get married, you're having a great day, you're at the reception, someone walks up to you and goes, hey, buddy, congrats on the nuptials. Also, your wife's banging the pool guy. What? Bo Nix out for the season? We're in the AFC Championship game? Could you imagine? And this game, storylines aplenty. And whether or not you out there listening, you out there watching, whether or not you hate the New England Patriots. And if you're a Jets fan, I certainly understand that. Giants fans, I don't really mind them. We own them in Super Bowls. It's absolutely the best. But would certainly understand the Jets fans that hate the New England Patriots. And if you're, a Raider fan, whatever the hell, Dolphins fan, whatever you root for, Patriots have become a really detestable team thanks to their incredible run of success. Also, they're from Boston. I get it. Even if you hate them, you have to give them a ton of credit. What they did to orchestrate this organizational turnaround is pretty stunning and is worthy of praise, even if you hate them. Robert Kraft corrected the mistake that he made by making Gerard Mayo the head coach. There are some owners that wouldn't do that wouldn't admit the mistake that early. That ring a bell, Giants fans? That wouldn't correct that mistake. Fire Gerard Mayo after 1 year. Hires Mike Vrabel, brings in Josh McDaniels, who is a terrible head coach, but one of the great offensive coordinators in the history of the league. Bring in Josh McDaniels. Drafted Drake May with help from the Giants and Tommy DeVito the season before. Wow, that Monday Night Football game, that win over the Green Bay Packers was great, wasn't it? We got to talk about how good chicken cutlets are and do fun Italian hand motions. You know what would be more fun? If Drake May were the quarterback of the Giants. But I digress. That is old news. We move forward with John Harbaugh and Jackson Dart. Feels good to say that, honestly. John Harbaugh and Jackson Dart. Drake May, you get the quarterback. And for all the people that say you can't spend wisely in free agency and can't build a championship team through free agency, the Patriots spit on that. Milton Williams, Harold Landry, who won't play today, Robert Spillane, Stephon Diggs, Carlton Davis, huge Mac Hollins, who's back today. He's returning. Once again, the Patriots built a championship team, partially through free agency, which people say can't happen and shouldn't be done. Incredible stuff from New England. And then we talk about the Denver Broncos, with Jarrett Stidham set to start at quarterback. Evoking memories once upon a time of Jeff Hostetler in December of 1990 relieving an injured. My mom's listening right now. December 15th, 1990. I remember that because it was my mom's birthday when that happened. When Phil Simms goes down and Jeff Hostetler has to come in. Or early December in 2017, Eagles on the road in Los Angeles against the Rams, and Carson Wentz tears his ACL and Nick Foles has to come in. Backup quarterbacks that have led teams to Super Bowl glory. And isn't it ironic? I don't think it is ironic. I just kind of like that song. It's like rain on your wedding day or snow on Championship Sunday. Isn't it perfectly poetic and symmetrical that the head coach of the Denver Broncos, who will have to coax an AFC Championship win and a potential Super Bowl 60 win out of a backup quarterback, is a disciple of none other than the great Bill Parcells? And I will just tell people this. And Troy Rank, who's covered the Denver sports forever, I believe for the Denver Post, wrote this week that Sean Payton said something similar to his team this week than what Bill Parcells said to the New York Football Giants in that 1990 playoff run that culminated with the Super Bowl 25 championship. And what Bill Parcells said and what Sean Payton said to his team, perhaps paraphrasing slightly, but likely with the same colorful language. If we lose, it won't be because of Jeff Hostetler. It will be because of dumb mother effers on this team that make stupid effing mistakes. Sean Payton's going to take the pressure off his quarterback, and he's going to put it on the rest of his team. What a fascinating handicap and a fascinating AFC Championship game today to kick off Championship Sunday. Injury-wise in this game, we thought that J.K. Dobbins might return for the Denver Broncos. He is out for this game. We think if the Broncos win today, that Dobbins would be back for the Super Bowl, but J.K. Dobbins not yet ready to return. It'll be R.J. Harvey, Laurie's son, that will be the lead ball carrier for Denver, along with Tyler Bidet. I've said this before. My friend Kevin actually has a bidet. I think my friend Teddy does as well. They are two sick freaks, Kevin and Teddy. Shout out to them. And then the group, Jaleel McLaughlin, wrong, as the running backs for Denver. We believe that Troy Franklin will miss this game, but Pat Bryant will be back. He was concussed last week. Apparently, this is probably a story for another show, but apparently, concussions don't exist in the NFL playoffs. Just saying. It's like brain injuries don't really happen on the football field once the calendar turns to January. Harold Landry is out for New England, and Matt Collins returns to the lineup. Oh, my God! Shout out to Mark Morrison for the New England Patriots. Let's talk about the betting market. This reached as high earlier in the week as Patriots a 6-point road favorite. And now, Championship Sunday morning, New England minus 3.5 at BetMGM. Now, the 3.5 is juiced towards New England. I think there's no way this comes down to 3. So if you like New England, my guess is, and I'm guessing, it's an educated guess, is that this is the best number that you will get to bet the New England Patriots. Will be New England minus 3.5. Now, you might be asking yourself, and it's a really fair question to ask, why would the line move so sharply in favor of Denver if the Broncos are starting a backup quarterback? Now, what I'm about to say is an imperfect science, but I think, it should be easy enough for people to follow along, and we are all football fans, even if not everybody bets, which is totally fine, and you can apply your opinion watching the games and what you think things should or should not be. So if Bo Nix were going to be the starting quarterback, Denver was going to be about a 1-point home favorite in this game, most likely. Denver a small home favorite in the AFC Championship game. So Jarrett Stidham's going to start. And the spread moves all the way out to New England minus 6, which implies just a gigantic drop from Nix to Stidham. And perhaps that's right. Maybe we get through the game and Jarrett Stidham is Richard Todd. And it's that bad for Stidham and it's that bad for the Denver Broncos. But what I can tell you is, and I know because I talked to them, there are bettors that believe that the drop in the betting market was far too precipitous from Nix to Stidham, and it has been correcting over the course of the week, where the difference between the two teams, and it's still a huge difference with New England favored by more than 3 on the road at Denver at altitude. It's still a huge difference, but maybe not as big as it was earlier in the week, and I think that's what bettors have kind of said, is that the difference between Nix and Stidham should not be that much. And here's what's great. What I am saying is not a spoiler. That doesn't mean the Broncos are going to win. You can disagree with that. You, the person watching, you, the person listening. And if you do, I think 3.5 is a great number with which to bet the New England Patriots. As far as the total is concerned, we have come up a little bit over the course of the week. We were at 42.5 for much of the week. We sit at 43 this morning. And I do like the over in this game. I like the over in the game. I bet over 42.5. I talked about it on the weekday edition of the show, which now airs. We're, 27 minutes in, and this is the first time I'm plugging my show. It's a bad job by me, if I can be candid. 9 a.m. to noon Eastern, Westwood One Sports, Odyssey app, Westwood One Sports app, YouTube, Twitch, Nesson in the New England area, radio stations nationwide, Sirius XM Channel 375, Nick Kostos, 9 a.m. to noon. You bet, on Westwood One Sports. And I talked about it at the end of the week. I like the over in the game. I do think the Denver Broncos are going to be able to score in this game. That doesn't mean that I think the Broncos are going to score 35 points and Jarrett Stidham's going to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's not what I'm saying. The total is not 50. The total is 43. Can the Broncos get to 20, 21, 23 points? To paraphrase the British Bulldog before he beat the Warlord at WrestleMania 7, I say they can and will. And the yardage prop that I like in this game, and I'll give you a couple others that I'm #monitoring. How about Pat Bryant, Denver's rookie receiver out of Illinois? He's kind of like going to be the Michael Thomas of this team. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Michael Thomas was once upon a time for the Saints, but kind of the same body type. That was the comparison Sean Payton made for Pat Bryant in training camp and in the preseason. I have Pat Bryant on like all my dynasty fantasy football teams. I would love if that were true. So last week against the Buffalo Bills, Pat Bryant, 3 snaps in the game, 3 catches, 32 yards, and then he gets concussed. Like, he is going to be a part of the game plan today. I like Pat Bryant over receiving yards. So I think the Broncos can score in this game. Now, on the flip side, Patriots offense versus Broncos defense. And I know Broncos defense has a great reputation. And Jets fans, we remember what the Broncos did to the Jets in that London game, which is, just strike it from the record. That might go down like the Jets-Redskins game, like the 3-0 game back in the day in like the early to mid-90s. This is a terrible football game. But we also remember, right, what the Giants did to the Broncos in that game in Denver with the Giants defense collapsing at the end. And we can look at point totals allowed by Denver down the stretch of the season by this Broncos defense, whether it's 34 to Jacksonville, 26 to Green Bay, 26 to the Commanders. How about 30 last week to the Buffalo Bills? And should have been more if not for a billion self-inflicted errors by Josh Allen and the Bills. Now, Drake May put the ball on the turf last week like he was a young Dave Craig. We got a lot of old football references in the show. For people that don't know, Dave Craig, the former Seahawks quarterback, who led the NFL in fumbles in NFL history before Brett Favre broke that record towards the end of Favre's career. Drake May couldn't stop fumbling last week. Addicted to fumbling. Like contract incentives for every fumble, every ball put on the ground last week by Drake May, which I think concerns you a little bit, right, if you like the Patriots in this game. But here's what we also know about Drake May. And I think people will criticize him by saying, well, look at this road that the Patriots have had to potentially get to the Super Bowl, right? And to be fair, it's very easy. Justin Herbert and the Chargers, an offense so broken that Jim Harbaugh fired the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. Last week against C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, where, they should have been C.J. Stroud midway through the first half. A miserable performance. A long offseason awaits for C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. And now today, a backup quarterback in Jarrett Stidham, and one of the easiest regular season schedules in the history of the NFL. And all of those things can be true. And they are. It's indisputable. But what else is indisputable is that Drake May is spectacular. So you can be out there listening, out there watching, and you can be a hater. And I understand that, right? So you're a big Jets fan. Drake May sucks. They haven't beaten anyone. Okay, you can think that. But just know, I am being, objective right now. You are wrong. He's awesome. He is, as Mike the Miz would say, awesome. And yes, he came to play. Last week against the Texans defense, how about that strike on the opening drive to DeMario Pop Douglas for the touchdown? The strike to Stephon Diggs. How many quarterbacks in the league can make that throw? The long pass to Kayshawn Booty, rocking everywhere. Great catch by Booty. Also a great throw by Drake May. It's possible that Drake May lays a Humpty Dumpty-sized egg in this game, and the Patriots offense stinks it up. Of course, that can happen. It can happen. But what's more likely? That, or that Drake May at least plays reasonably well? Again, you can be a hater and think he sucks. I'm telling you, you're wrong. I think he's going to play well. And I think Ramondre Stevenson's going to run well, as he's taken the reins of the number one running back for New England away from second-round rookie Travion Henderson, averaging 6.3 yards per touch in this postseason. Hasn't fumbled since week 5. Ramondre's been great. And the receiving core, for New England, while it lacks that true number one, like we will talk about in the NFC game with Nakua and Jackson Smith and Jigba, man, they got a bunch of guys that could beat you at any given time. Matt Collins back in the lineup. So yes, I think the Patriots will score as well. So give me the over in the game. I bet 42.5 or over 43. And as far as the side is concerned, now, if you listen to my show during the week, which you should, honestly, shame on you if you don't. You bet with Nick Kostos, million plays, youtube.com/@thekostos, SiriusXM, Odyssey app, all those good places, as I detailed about 2 minutes ago. You know that I bet Denver earlier in the week at a number that doesn't exist, which is not me being wow, look at how great I am. A lot of people did this, right? So this number was 6, 5.5, 5. I want to do my best Merrill Reese voice here, the Eagles play-by-play guy, legendary. He's at the 30, 35-40, 45-50. This number was 6, 5.5. Then it was 5, 4.5, 4, 3.5. Touchdown! If you get that reference, man, you are a real one. So the value's kind of been sucked out of this number, right? So, can Denver cover? Can Denver win? Of course. Just that there were better numbers that existed during the week. My best guess as to how the side plays out. This is a close game. I do think the Patriots are going to win. At the end of the day, the Patriots have Drake May. And there was once, I don't know how many people remember this, but before Stephen A. Smith really hit it big on ESPN with First Take, he had a show called Quite Frankly that lasted for a little while. And at the end of the commercial for Quite Frankly, he said, and last I checked, the Patriots still have Tom Brady. And quite frankly, that's all they need. I don't know why I remember that. I thought the commercial was awesome. So here's what I'll say to everybody. And the Jets fans, you don't want to hear this. But last I check, the Patriots still have Drake May. Quite frankly, that's all they need. Patriots win a close game. Broncos cover the spread. Game goes over the total. And a partridge in a pear tree. We'll take a quick break here. Championship Sunday in the NFL. And on the other side. I'll just reiterate the bets quickly before we do that. So, over. Broncos, Pat Bryant over receiving yards. And because, we're coming off the holidays, right? I'm like a fat slug right now. I had to stop myself from saying a much worse 4-letter word there. We should all kind of be thinking about dieting right now. Weather's going to be warmer. It doesn't feel like it, but the weather will be warmer soon. We want to look good during the summer. Let's all go on a diet together. How about the Atkins diet? Nate Atkins, anytime touchdown at a big price for the Denver Broncos. And with that, we take a break. And on the other side, Championship Sunday breakdown in the National Football Conference with the Rams and the Seahawks in Seattle. It's You Better You Bet on the Fan with me, Nick Kostos, and you, whoever the hell you are, presented by BetMGM.
The home of Super Bowl 60 is WFAN. The AFC and NFC champs, TBD.
The snap is good. The ball is down. The kick is away. The kick is good and over end.
The Patriots and Broncos in the Mile High City kick things off 3 o'clock today.
He steps into it. He slings it deep right. 1-on-1 to the end zone.
Then we go to the Emerald City for the Rams and Seahawks.
Diving two-hand catch for 6.
The NFL on Westwood One is on The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Health surprises can change your life in an instant. You've seen it happen to others, but it doesn't have to be your story. At Princeton Longevity Center, we customize actionable and proactive health plans to maximize your lifespan and take control of your health. Our Cancer Check program combines cutting-edge technology with top medical expertise to keep you ahead of potential risks. With advanced full-body imaging, genetic testing, and multi-cancer detection blood tests, we look for even the earliest signs of problems. Results are analyzed by expert physicians who craft a personalized plan to safeguard your future. You're not just a patient, you're a partner in your health journey, backed by a team committed to helping you live longer, healthier, and more vibrantly. Our programs have saved hundreds of lives and empowered countless others to take control of their health. Be proactive with your health for the ultimate peace of mind. Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business?
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more. So you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom! That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
we can be twinsies
to
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a best man speech, but getting one from some random plus one.
I am honored to be standing here today, also confused and a little hungry. Does anyone want to switch entrees? Pretty sure I checked beef.
You wouldn't settle for just any speech, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Boomer Esiason here, and after years in the game, I don't guess. I go with what works. Red Pocket Mobile gives you strong coverage with your choice of multiple 5G networks. Plans starting at just $10 a month and real customer care in under 2 minutes. All of this with no contracts or price hikes. Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier.
Looking for Continental winter tires? Then head to Town Fair Tire, New England's largest volume discount tire dealer. We've got Continental tires in every size for every vehicle, in stock with more arriving daily, all at the guaranteed lowest price. And when you add the most free services for life, it's easy to see how nobody beats Town Fair Tire for your new Continental winter tires. And I mean nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Revitalize your bathroom with big savings at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off select vanities and free delivery during our bath savings event. Plus, get up to 40% off select shower heads. No matter what style you're looking for, we've got you covered. Shop for your bathroom refresh at Lowe's. We help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range. What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Got something to say about your team? Call 888-808-1019. Powered by Paramount Plus. Count on Paramount Plus to stream every NFL on CBS playoff game.
A football life. That's what I want to know. Nick Kostos, a football life. All right, everybody. NFC Championship game. You Better You Bet, presented by BetMGM on the Fan. The Seattle Seahawks and slinging Sammy Darnold and his oblique injury. Going to be fine to play in the game today. Look, some people before the game, some players, maybe, hamburger, orange slice, whatever. Sam Darnold will be eating a Toradol sandwich to get ready for this game today. Seattle, a 2.5-point home favorite against the Rams. Total of this game, 46. We have seen the total drop as the week has gone on, and we have seen the Rams start to get bad, especially this weekend. We saw Seattle as high as a 3-point favorite way earlier in the week, and Seattle for most of the week was a juiced 2.5-point favorite, so in between 2.5 and 3, with the intimation being that bettors were into Seattle, right? That if you like the Rams, you like 3. If you like Seattle, you wanted to lay 2.5. Now we're seeing interest on the LA Rams at plus 2.5. And these two teams are coming off probably the game of the year in the regular season, at least. Back on December 18th, Thursday Night Football, with Seattle winning in overtime on a 2-point conversion from Sam Darnold to Eric Saubert, 38-37. And that game propelling Seattle to an NFC West championship, propelling Seattle to the number 1 overall seed in the NFC playoffs, and propelling Seattle to be the home team in this game. So this is where I will admit, right? I have a little bit of bias here, and I'm telling you about it up front. My bias is towards the Rams, and I'm acknowledging that right out of the jump here. But let's be real. If you watch that game, and I'm guessing you did, it's one of the best games of the season, right? That Rams-Seahawks Thursday night game. The Rams blew that game. They blew it. Give up the punt return to Rashid Shaheed, and what an acquisition he was, and he obviously had the opening kick return for a touchdown last week against San Francisco. You had the wacky 2-point play with Zach Charbonnet, who's out for the season for Seattle with a torn ACL. I do think that matters for the game today. The Rams blew that game. The Rams were the better team in that game back on December 18th. And this has been a bugaboo for the LA Rams for the duration of Sean McVay's coaching tenure. And I feel like I do this, it's not a bit, not a shtick. It's like I guess it's a routine. I don't know. I talk about this all the time when we talk about McVay, because I criticize him sometimes. But if I'm going to criticize him, I also need to say this. Like, if he maybe he walks away and he wants to be the next John Madden. Maybe that's what it is. Like, he's a Hall of Fame caliber coach. Like, he and Kyle Shanahan are like the two biggest innovators this century in the National Football League. He's not a good coach. He's a great coach. I would even argue he's not a great coach. He's like a Hall of Fame caliber coach. So he's awesome. But he's like a gambler that goes on tilt. And even if you don't bet on sports, if you go to play table games, right? We've all seen this. Maybe it's been you. It certainly has been me at times in my life, right? Let's say you're playing blackjack and you have a 20, and then the dealer flips over. It's 16 cards and gets 21, and you get real pissed. And then you go to the roulette table and you put it all on black, and it comes up red, and you start making bad decisions. You go on tilt. That's what it's called. Sean McVay goes on tilt. And we saw at the end of the game last week, and Sean McDermott, the recently fired coach of the Buffalo Bills, would do well to take some advice from Sean McVay and to learn from Sean McVay, where McDermott and the Bills go and choke that game last week in Denver. And all McDermott can do when he gets up to the post-game podium is bitch and moan and whine and complain about the officiating. I'm standing up for Buffalo. Great. Go stand in the unemployment line instead. Sean McVay and the Rams win last week in Chicago, and McVay gets up to the podium, and what does he say? I need to do better. I didn't put our team in position to win. That's accountability. Excuses, tools of the incompetent. Sean McVay doesn't point fingers, he points thumbs. That's what we all need to be doing as America. Like not a political comment, but thumbs. That's for you in your life. Thumbs, not fingers. What can you do better? What can I do better? So McVay knew that he almost blew it last week, and he did almost blow it last week. The 3rd and 7 after the stupid Ben Johnson timeout with 2:07 to play, begging the Rams to throw the ball, he runs it. 13 seconds left, multiple timeouts, says, you know what? We haven't seen, a team with 13 seconds left do something great in the divisional rounds of the playoffs. Let's go to overtime and take our chances. Ridiculous from Sean McVay. Now, Harrison, Mevis, and Butthead did make the game-winning kick, and the Rams did win, but the Rams could have easily lost last week to Chicago and could have easily lost in the wild card round on the road in Carolina. And here's what I'll say to everybody. And this is not just my opinion. This is not subjective. This is objective. And I'll ask the question, and then I will lay out, as we call it in broadcasting, and give you, the listener, you, the viewer, a few seconds to think about the answer in your head. Like the Cranberries once famously sang. What's in your head? If the Rams play and coach like they did in the wild card round against Carolina, the divisional round against Chicago, if they play and coach like that today, who wins? It's the Seahawks, right? And not only do I think the Seahawks will win, if that's what the Rams play like and the Rams coach like, I think Seattle waxes that ass. I don't know if the game is close if you get a Rams effort like you got last week against the Bears or 2 weeks ago in Carolina against the Panthers. My opinion, and this is, believe me, this is hypothetical. Believe me, this is subjective. I think you get an A-plus Rams game today. I've liked the Rams. Now, the Rams were not I liked the Eagles. That was the horse I backed. The Rams were my second choice. I backed the Eagles. I was wrong about that. But if not the Eagles, then I said the Rams. And you know because you listen to my show. You watch my show. And I've said it the final couple months of the season. Eagles, Rams, not just the two best teams in the NFC, but the two best teams in football. I was wrong. Eagles lost at home in the wild card round to San Francisco. So now that the Rams are here, of course I have faith in the Rams. And of course I have faith in Sean McVay. And of course I have faith in Matthew Stafford to turn it around. And whether or not what I'm about to say is fair to Sam Darnold doesn't really matter. It's my money, I'm going to do what I want with it. It's my money, I'll do what I want. Sam Darnold has to show me. He needs to prove it to me. And maybe he needs to prove it to you also, especially if you're a Jets fan. Because yes, he did win a playoff game last week. Also did, and this is not even meant to be an insult, sincerely. He did nothing in the game. He didn't have to do anything because the Seahawks annihilated, obliterated, eviscerated, and humiliated the San Francisco 49ers. When it comes down to it, if Matthew Stafford is slinging the rock today, and he's having one of those Matthew Stafford games, can Sam Darnold stand toe-to-toe with him? Will Sam Darnold make the critical error? Make the critical mistake? I think the answer to that question is yes. And you can call me a hater for that. That's fine. I don't think I am a hater. I think I'm just telling the truth. It's what I think is going to happen. And I love Mike Macdonald, Seattle's second-year head coach, the former Ravens defensive coordinator. And I'll say this also. And I'll talk about this. I'm on for another 2 hours later this morning, and I'll do more on that then with a little bit more real estate, right? And we'll talk about it leading up to Super Bowl 60 if the Seahawks win this game and get there. And they'll be huge favorite in the Super Bowl against either team. There's a chance that 2 weeks from now, well, 2 weeks from now it'll be Super Bowl Sunday morning. 2 weeks and 12 hours from now, whatever. That Mike Macdonald will be defensive Sean McVay. And he will be the flag bearer, and he will be leading the charge of the NFL's defensive revolution. And will be on pace to be one of those coaches moving forward. He's close to it. They're favored today. They'll be favored in the Super Bowl. They are the favorite to win the Super Bowl right now at BetMGM. So I don't say this to minimize Mike Macdonald, who is fantastic. And you don't think the Ravens wish that they had kept him instead of John Harbaugh? And I don't even mean that as an insult to the Giants. Just saying, let's tell the truth with how it turned out, right? Mike Macdonald is magnificent. But I don't trust his quarterback. And I trust Matthew Stafford. Forget about the points, although you can take them if you want. Listen, if I won all my bets, do you think I'd be driving to work in a snowstorm at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning? You'd never hear or see from me. I'd say, later, suckers, and go on my yacht. I don't even know. Like, wherever rich people go on their yachts is where I would be. So I lose plenty of bets. So do whatever the hell you want. You like Seattle, bet Seattle. You like New England, bet New England. You can be right, I can be wrong. I think the Rams are going to win today. Give me the Rams on the money line. You bet Rams plus 2.5. I think Stafford's going to be locked in. I think Darnold makes the critical mistake. I like the LA Rams today to win and advance to Super Bowl 60. Yardage prop for the game. I would never tell anyone sincerely to bet the under on Jackson Smith and Jigba 90.5 or Puka Nacua 90.5. Both guys beasted in these matchups in the regular season, especially on December 18th. Numbers feel right to me. Totals coming down in the game. Maybe it's a tighter game. We'll see. The yardage prop that I love. And I think, the Rams went away from it a little bit last week against the Bears where Devontae Adams can't separate. Like, he did not look, he's got the hamstring injury, right? Didn't look good last week against Chicago, where you saw a lot of Jordan Whittington. Like, the Rams were having more receivers on the field. My sense is today they go back to using more of the 3 tight end set. And the Rams tight end with the most explosion, and it's a low number also, Clarissa's brother, Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson over 12.5 receiving yards, and Terrence Ferguson to score a touchdown today for the LA Rams. So the bets, once again, for today. Denver plus the points. I have a better number. Whatever. Do whatever the hell you want. Over in the game. Pat Bryant over receiving yards. The Adkins diet, anytime touchdown. Rams money line. Terrence Ferguson over receiving yards. And Terrence Ferguson, anytime touchdown. Before I bid you adieu on this championship Sunday, a couple thoughts on NFL coaching hires and NFL news over the last few days. And Jets fans, let's start with your team for a minute or two, where Aaron Glenn is basically fired every single assistant coach on the roster. And reportedly, Tanner Eggstrand is not going to call plays next year. Maybe he gets demoted. Like, he's trying to get a new offensive play caller also. And if I were a Jets fan, and I'm not, but if I were, I would be pretty upset. And I certainly understand Jets fans that are very upset right now with the fact that the Jets kept Aaron Glenn, where you can certainly make the case that this season was so bad at 3-14 and the incompetent coaching, you could have made the case that he should be a one and done. I was okay with it, with him coming back, and I'll talk about why in a second, but this is starting to look worse. Because if you're going to have a whole new coaching staff, why not just fire him also? The answer, I think, is one of two things. Number one, this is the most likely one, is that they are just a completely incompetent organization, and Woody Johnson doesn't know what he's doing. That's the most likely outcome, right? I have to acknowledge that. That's what Occam's razor dictates. The second choice would be, and if you're a Jets fan, you can kind of grip this with an iron vice, is that the Jets are doing like what the Texans did recently with like David Culley and Lovie Smith, where you let Aaron Glenn soak up a year, the team's really bad, kind of on purpose, and you set up a high draft pick next year. It's one of those two. It's probably the former. But here's why I will say to Jets fans, why I think you should be a little optimistic. And this may fall on deaf ears, and I get it. You can tell me you're not a Jets fan, you don't understand. You may be right. This is my opinion. You've got the 2nd and 16th overall picks in the first round of this NFL draft, plus 33 and 44, and 3 first-rounders in 27. I know that the draft history of the Jets, including a recent draft where you had 3 first-round, you don't need me to tell you about it, right? Where it's not been an illustrious history, right, for the Jets, drafting players. Past failure does not have to be indicative of future failure or success. It's possible that you nail these picks and you get your quarterback of the future. It can happen. And if I were a Jets fan, I would choose to lean into that optimism. That's me, though. I get it if you don't want to. I get it if you're pissed right now. Worst case scenario, you're brutal in 26. You have 4 picks in the top 44 and then 3 first-rounders in 27. This can be turned around in short order. And last note, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to hire Mike McCarthy as their next head coach. And maybe Aaron Rodgers come. I can't imagine that that's going to happen. Like, this would be like a couple, like you're friends with a couple and they're like a bad relationship and they're boring together. And maybe they had great success in the past and like was a great marriage, whatever. And it just gets stale and they break up and no one's mad when they break up. There's no acrimony. They just break up. And then 10 years later, they get back together. What? McCarthy and Rodgers were stale in 2018 and we're going to run this back in 2026? Please. I can't imagine that Rodgers comes back. But even if he doesn't, the hiring of Mike McCarthy is a signal that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to try and compete next year, which is to be, and I want to be very clear about this. Like, it is